All right, everybody, welcome. We're going to get started now. I've left it a few minutes late just so that we could let people get in. We appreciate this building is not all that easy to find, so well done. You've passed your first test for getting here and finding this room. This is a room that you no doubt will have quite a few classes in as you move through your medical science laboratory medicine program, whichever course that you're enrolled in. I should introduce myself. So welcome, I'm Helen Harrison. I'm the course coordinator for our medical science programs. I'm going to speak to you today a little bit about Flinders University in general, and then also about our medical science degree. And we've also got Professor Vula Tsoutsakos, who's going to speak about laboratory medicine. So Vula is our laboratory medicine coordinator, and Dr. Lara Ascane, who's our first year coordinator for our medical science programs, and also is our coordinator for our professional placement topics in laboratory medicine, so the fourth year placement topics, and helps run our peer mentoring program. We've also got some peer mentors up the back who you would have met as you signed in, who can also share their wisdom potentially with you as we go through this welcome session. So this is our agenda. I've essentially said all of that. We do have some morning tea afterwards as well, where you can have a chat with us and talk about any questions you've got. We can help you with hopefully any issues that you're having as you get started here at Flinders. There's a little bit of water and fruit and things. All right, I do just want to acknowledge that we today are on the lands of the Kaurna people, but I do want to recognise that Flinders actually has a large footprint. In particular, our college, the College of Medicine and Public Health, has a footprint that extends throughout regional South Australia, up through the Northern Corridor into Alice Springs, and then up into Darwin as well, and even Katherine and Nhulunbuy. We've got campuses too and students studying there. So I do want to acknowledge traditional owners of all of the lands that Flinders teaches and learns across, and honour elders past, present and emerging. So we'll just go here and I will play this. It would help if the sound worked. Give me 2 secs to try and sort out this sound. It should be working. I don't know why it's not. You know what we'll try? I'll go to this link in particular and we'll see if that works instead. Still no. Oh, so it is, yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. Let's go back to here then.
So I'd like to give a really warm welcome to Flinders University. This is Simona Laka-Tur, and she's our Pro Vice-Chancellor Indigenous.
And this is Professor Romy Lawson, Senior Deputy Vice-Chancellor. And we're located at Yungarenthi in Perilla. We'd like to acknowledge all the traditional owners and custodians on the lands on which our university is located, within South Australia and Northern Territory.
And whether you're studying on one of those campuses or online, we warmly welcome you to Flinders University.
Yungarenthi in Perilla means meeting place in Kaurna, and we were gifted the word Yungarenthi, which means to impart, to inform and communicate. We're right next to Yungarenthi Truku, the building where our Aboriginal students come and learn.
So to start your journey with Flinders, we're privileged to have Cliffy Wilson with us today. He's here from the Kumakaru and he's going to do a welcome to country for us.
Nyankina mena, na mani. Nana Cliffy Tanku Manacha Wilson. Nagana, Naranjiri, Naranga, Nadri, Arandamayo. Mariwichanga Gana Mena, Nadlu Tambadi, Nadlu Gana Yatanga Tikandi. Na wanga di mani lebunigani yatana, na yukandalia yakandalia, na chalia. Good morning to each and every one of you behind the lens today. My name is Cliffy Wilson, but I also go by Tunkel and Manacha, which are both my traditional Kaurna names down here in the city of Adelaide. So Tunkel is my totem, and my totem is the king brown snake, one of the most dangerous animals in the world. Also, Manacha is just my birth order name, which translates to the fourth born and male of my family. I'm a proud Kaurna man from here in the city of Adelaide, but also a proud Ngarrindjeri man from back on the lower lakes of the Coorong and the Fleurieu Peninsula. My family ties extend out to the Naranga people on the Yorke Peninsula, also to the Ngadjuri people on the Flinders Ranges, and last but not least, the Aranda people in the Northern Territory of Alice Springs. I'm here this morning at Flinders University in Bedford Park, also known as Yungarindi Imperilla, which translates to meeting place, which is located on the Kaurna lands. And on behalf of the Kaurna people, I would like to welcome those who are situated here in Flinders Uni at Bedford Park on Kaurna lands, but also welcome those across South Australia who are located on other Aboriginal lands. May we pay respects to the traditional custodians of those regions and also pay respects to their cultural and spiritual beliefs, as it still is important to the living Aboriginal people today. Also, we do have campuses located in Northern Territory, so I'd like to pay respects to the traditional owners of those regions. And to the staff and students, may we take care of these campuses and the surrounding communities of these areas like the Aboriginal people have for many thousands of years. But also, may we pay respects to the cultural and spiritual beliefs of the Aboriginal peoples across the country and recognise that their connection to the land, the sky and the waterways that surround and connect us are still as strong, still as important, but also still as important to the living Aboriginal people today. I would like to finish off by saying Ngāchalia and Nakara. Ngāchalia means thank you in the Kaurna language, and Ngāchalia means we'll see you again when our paths meet. To all students, I would like to wish you all the best for the remainder of the year and for your future studies. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cliffy, for offering us a welcome to country and also the acknowledgement of all the traditional owners on which our universities are located.
So welcome to all our new students. I hope you have an amazing first semester, and remember, have fun.
All right. So that location, this is always annoying too. Trying to skip across. There we go. That location that they were standing at is actually kind of up through the tunnel. And if you walk past the gym that's up the top there, keep walking past, there's a student services building and you can get to that location. It's actually a really lovely spot to sit and have lunch if you just need a bit of a quiet spot away from where you've been studying. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about just Flinders in general before we delve into medical science. We're going to talk a lot today at you, and I apologise, it's a lot of information. It can get a bit overwhelming, but just note that we will put these slides up online, so you'll be able to find the information afterwards. Don't feel as if you have to write everything down and remember it. But what I really want you to understand, I guess, is how much support is available to you here at Flinders, either through us as academics or through the support services that Flinders have. So if that's the one takeaway that you can get, that's what I really want you to understand as you move through today. All right, so another video. We've got the sound sorted now. So this one's just around some of the essentials and getting those sorted as you start here at Flinders.
Welcome to Flinders University. This is your guide to getting started, staying connected and finding support. Let's go. First things first, Wi-Fi. Connect to the EduRoam Wi-Fi using your student FAN and Flinders password. For more information, head to the Wi-Fi page on our Flinders website. Flow, or Flinders Learning Online, is the main platform that the university uses. It runs off of a platform called Canvas, so you may hear people call it by that name too.
Need help with Flow? Head into the Orientation Events Planner page and register for the Intro to Flow session. If you need help to enroll and register, Flinders has plenty of support available to make the process smooth and stress-free. You can submit a request via Ask Flinders, or you can visit Flinders Connect in person for personalised assistance, or watch the Student System how-to guides on YouTube for quick visual guides. You also need to order your student ID card. This can be done via the Order My ID Card app on your Okta dashboard, or just visit Flinders Connect on level 1 at Bedford Park.
You can pick it up from Flinders Connect or even get it posted. Just make sure your address is up to date, and you can even choose your preferred name.
Flinders Connect is your one-stop support hub for all things student life, helping with enrollment, fees, exams, graduations, ID cards, scholarships, and general inquiries.
Flinders also offer a huge variety of scholarships, which you can find on our Flinders Scholarships page. Getting to Flinders? No problem.
Take the train straight to Flinders Station or hop on a bus with heaps of routes, including all loop buses, which keep us connected, so you're never more than a bus ride away.
If you're driving onto campus, don't panic. There's plenty of room to park on campus. Just make sure you download Cello Park or grab a V permit to avoid racking up those fines we all love.
Feeling unsafe? Security is here for you 24/7. Just ring 8201-2880 or find hotline phones around campus. If you experience harassment or unacceptable behaviour, you can always make a confidential report. It doesn't start a complaint, it starts support. You can find the library at level 2 at Bedford Park. chat with librarians, access photos, videos, textbooks, journals, and more.
Need academic support? Visit the Learning Lounge. The Student Learning Support Service is here to help with referencing, academic writing, and more, online or in person. Better You connects you with wellbeing resources, physical, mental, social, and spiritual. Check it out to look after you.
You can see a doctor, counsellor, or disability advisor through health counselling and disability services available on Level 3 of the Student Centre building by phone or online appointments. These appointments can be bulk billed or covered by an overseas health card. Contact them on 08 8201 2118 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. weekdays.
Oasis is your wellbeing space. There's free tea and coffee, prayer rooms and social events, markets and wellbeing programs.
Are you an international student? Come over to the International Student Services where you're supported through advice, volunteering, social events, meet and greets, and much more.
Young Corinthi supports Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students with tutoring, study spaces, financial support and community.
If you're a student with disability or mental health conditions, visit the University Specialist Employment Partnership team. The USEP team offers specialised on-campus employment help in partnership with the Community Bridging Services.
Ready to kickstart your career? Careers Hub is here to help you build resumes, networking, business ideas, and placements to jumpstart your career.
More details on all the services discussed in this video are available on the link above.
And just remember, university is more than just classes. It's about finding your path, building your future, and accessing support.
And don't forget, having fun along the way. We're super excited to have you here.
Welcome to Flinders.
All right, so again, that was a real crash course into all of the different support services at Flinders. There's some more orientation videos here. Again, I'm going to share this online, so don't feel as if you have to scan it now. And those, a lot of the support services that were mentioned in that little video are also on this support and services directory. Really, if you kind of feel like you need some help, but you're not sure what, you can talk with any of us and we can kind of help you, try and point you in the direction of the relevant support service. Or we do have our student success and wellbeing advisors who are excellent at helping bridge students with the correct service if they need it. The other thing I just want to say is these support services aren't just for if things start going bad. So they're not just for if your mental health takes a dive or if you feel like you're failing, they're actually there to help just support your success as you move through. So, you know, you might have started an assignment and you're just a little bit unsure how to continue on with it. The support services can really help you kind of get the absolute best mark and understand exactly the requirements and all of those sorts of things. So don't feel as if they are there just for when things go bad. They're there to just help support you as you move through your studies. All right, orientation at Flinders. So you would have noticed that you would have actually been signed up to a topic called Finding Your Way at Flinders. That's kind of an online orientation to university life here at Flinders. So it talks about elements of Flinders itself, how university works, talks to you about, you know, what do we mean by a lecture? What do we mean by a workshop, tutorial, practical, all of those sorts of things. And then does start going into kind of some good study skills and habits to get into, again, to support your success while you're here at Flinders, and different tricks and shortcuts and things like that. So there's videos that are really helpful, but again, this is a flow topic that you would already be enrolled in, and you can access that and work your way through. Again, particularly if you're kind of looking at your existing flow topics for your actual topics that you're going to be studying and thinking, I'm not sure exactly how to navigate this, that Finding Your Way at Flinders topic might help assist you with that. So this week is what we call orientation week. So there's a lot of different events that are happening throughout the university. Mid-year orientation is a little bit lower scale than what we get for our initial orientation at the start of the year, because we don't get quite as many students coming into our programs at that time, but there are still lots of different social activities, but also study support activities and things as well. So this is all listed here. You can see quite a bit of it was yesterday, which isn't all that helpful, but after this, there are some different things happening up the hill. So intro to Oasis, different bright ideas to impact, some free yoga, intro to flow textbooks and services tours. Those are really useful. So tours of the library, and again, some of those support services are so helpful to do early on, because again, right now, hopefully you're all feeling relatively okay, but when you do start moving into your studies, as your stress levels might start increasing, hopefully they won't, but potentially that happens, sometimes you kind of forget all of those little things that can actually be helpful by that point when you are kind of increasing in your stress levels. So doing that earlier now can help you just set yourself up for success. And it means if you do start getting a bit stressed, you can go, no, that's right, I did that to her and I worked out where to find all of these different things. Pat and chat, I suspect that means that there's dogs, which is always good. So that's happening this afternoon. And then these are things that are happening throughout the rest of the week. Again, I'll put these slides up this afternoon on our Medical Science Flow site. I'll talk about that in a minute so that you can find them and see what's happening. Next week, which is week 1 of our semester, so the first week of kind of teaching and learning within your topics, within your course, is called Connect Week. And again, loads of different activities that are happening across Connect Week. So in particular, next Monday, there's a FUSA Fair Day up at the Student Hub. So the Student Hub, again, up the hill. If you just keep walking up a whole heap of stairs, you'll get to that main hub area where the tavern is and where there's not restaurants, but cafes. There's a little coffee van and things like that up there as well. That's what we consider to be the hub, but that's where there'll be a fair day. So there'll be lots of different stalls about relevant support services, some of the clubs and student societies and things that you could join while you're here at Flinders as well. There's a group scavenger hunt and snacks at the tavern, which is happening across a couple of different days. So again, these are kind of more fun activities to help you get to know people, but also get to know the university a little bit better as well. Key dates. So as I've said, this week's week 0, O week, next week's week 1, Connect Week. Your last day to enrol in topics is at the end of week 2 on the 7th of August. So in particular, if you've enrolled in an option topic, so not one of your core topics, but an option topic, and you start going, this isn't for me, I'm not sure I'm going to enjoy this topic, it's not a topic that I thought it was, as you start hearing a bit more information, you actually can unenroll in that and enroll in a different topic as long as you do that before the end of week 2. And that can help make sure that you're in a topic that you actually are going to enjoy and be able to, want to be in for the rest of the semester. Census Day is week 5, so the 28th of August. That day is essentially, if you are still enrolled in your topics after that date, you will be charged for them, so you'll have to pay for them. And if you then fail the topic, you will receive a fail grade. Whereas if you start off in a topic, something happens, you get really, really sick, or hopefully this doesn't happen, or have some sort of crisis occur, and you go, I don't think I'm actually going to be able to study this semester, or I don't think I'm going to be able to study for that particular topic. If you unenroll before this date in week 5, you won't have to pay for the topic and your grade won't be recorded for it. So you'll just it won't even be listed on your academic transcript. So that can be a good way of, as I said, if you're kind of feeling a bit stressed, you're kind of going, I'm actually going to fail this topic, and you're fairly aware of that before that date in week 5, my suggestion is always unenroll, extend out your course a little bit, chat with me to look at, are there summer topics that you could do to try and make that up, and all of those sorts of things. But again, that's a bit of a safety net for you if you're getting to the point of week 4, start of week 5, and feeling pretty stressed and like you don't think you're going to be successful in your topics. We then also have another safety net here, week 9, last day to withdraw without failure. So after the census date, you have to pay for a topic. But again, if you feel as if you might fail that topic, or again, you're sick, family emergency, something's come up, you can withdraw before this date, the 9th of October, and on your academic transcript, you'll have what we call a WN grade, which doesn't impact your GPA. If you stay in topics beyond that date, your grade will be recorded on your academic transcript. If you have topics with exams, those will run from the 9th to the 20th of November. You'll notice for a lot of our medical science topics, you won't necessarily have scheduled exams, but you might have end of semester quizzes, which will occur either generally the week before these semester 2 examinations, and then we've got a deferred examination and supplementary period from the 7th to the 11th of December. Just take note of those dates, because if your topic does have an exam, it is expected that you are around to complete that exam during that time. It's actually part of our assessment policy, where if you're going on a holiday, that's actually not classed as a reason to apply for deferred assessment or a reason to miss an examination. So again, the expectation is that you have these dates available to sit your exam, or if you do need a deferred or supplementary exam, that you'll be around for that as well. Top tips. So again, I won't read this out, but there are some good tips just to think about. The only thing I will harp on about is don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, again, for many of you, this might either be your first experience at university or your first experience at Flinders or your first experience with medical science. So of course you might have questions or things that you don't understand, and we are all here to answer any questions you've got. I can quite confidently say that there is no such thing as a stupid question. I know you hear it a lot, but it's true. You know, we've had many questions, and I'll have a student say to me, this might be a student question, but, and then ask me the most complicated question I've ever heard. You know, not a stupid question at all. Or they'll ask me something and I'll realize that, yeah, that piece of information that they really needed is not actually available on the place that I thought it was. So questions are really helpful for us to make sure that we're being really clear in what we're saying, but also to make sure that we know that you understand what's happening within your studies as well. So please do ask questions if you have them. All right, let's actually get into talking about medical science a little bit. I'll talk for a bit and then we will rotate around so you don't just have to listen to me the whole time. So for this course, you will also see a flow page for this course. So hopefully you might have already accessed Flow. If you haven't, don't panic. Learning materials won't actually be available properly until next week. But if you have accessed Flow, which you can access through Okta, so I'll come up to my Okta dashboard, you'll see Flow often listed at the top, or you can search for it. But this is where all of your kind of learning materials and information will be placed for your topics. And you will see that some of your topic coordinators will use announcements, and they will share those announcements from the Flow site. They'll come through to your email addresses as well. But if you are kind of saying, I know I saw an announcement from somewhere, hopefully you'll be able to go on and see to the Flow site and see that. I posted an announcement from this medical sciences course site the other day, so you might have had that come through to your email as well. But this course site's got a lot of just general information. So there is a welcome and orientation information module. If you click on that, it'll open up. You'll see the orientation information from semester 1, but I'll also put this semester 2 information there as well. This is being recorded, so we'll also share the recording with you. Again, if there's things that you've forgotten or down the track you go, I know they said something about this, but I cannot remember what that was, you'll be able to find it there. There's information about our peer mentoring program, careers and employability, placements as well. So this is kind of our general course site where we will try and share information with you. And if we do have information to share to the cohort about either different events that are coming up or careers that the careers team have told us about, different job opportunities, or anything that's kind of relevant to you as medical science students, we will post them as announcements on this site as well. And like I said, that should come through to you as an email, but sometimes I would recommend just going and checking the announcements kind of once a week on this Flow site, just to make sure you haven't missed anything. Now, our leadership team, this is also on that Flow site, so you can find that information there. So I've already introduced myself, course coordinator, laboratory medicine coordinator is Vula, year 1 advisor Lara, our year 2 advisor Benoit is away at the moment, and year 3 advisor Christine also couldn't make it today. But we're kind of people that you can talk to about the course. You can obviously come to me about any of your year levels if you require help, but Lara probably knows a little bit more about some of the first year space, particularly the semester 2, because Lara also coordinates 1008, MMED 1008, which is how your cells work, one of our core topics within the degree as well. But you can talk to us about anything if you've got questions about the course. If you've got questions about your topics, the topic Flow site will have a lot of the information that you might need. So it might have a topic information booklet that you can look at, or just the Flow site itself might have a lot of this information listed. It's your topic Flow site where you can make assignment extension requests. There's not actually a place on the topic Flow site to submit your access plan if you have one, but you can submit that to the topic coordinator if you choose to. So an access plan, if you're not aware, if you have a chronic health condition or a learning disability or just something that's going to make your learning a little bit more challenging. If you're a carer for somebody that requires extra assistance, lots of different things, you might be eligible for an access plan. You can go to the Disability Services team and essentially say, hey, here's my situation, am I eligible? And if you do get an access plan, that essentially becomes this document that sometimes enables you to get no questions asked 7-day extensions for assessments. Sometimes, depending on your learning needs, you can get extra time within quizzes or exams or things like that. So again, if you think that that might be something that benefits you, I highly recommend chatting with the Disability Services team just to see if your situation warrants an access plan. The access plan itself has no personal information on it about what your condition is. It just says to a topic coordinator, this is this student and here's the accommodations they need to be successful within your topic, and the topic coordinator then will work with you to make sure that those accommodations are met. Again, you can have an access plan, not submit it, never use it, but it can be helpful if, again, the wheels fall off, your health condition gets slightly worse, something happens and comes up and you just suddenly realise that you need a bit of extra support. Flow site's also where your workshop, tutorial information, your lecture materials, all of those sorts of things will be as well. And really your topic coordinator is kind of your first point of contact with some of the topic information. If you're not getting responses from them, or you're finding that you're not getting kind of much information from them, then again, you can come to us and just let us know, and then we can try and make sure that those topic coordinators are aware that students aren't finding them all that responsive, and hopefully they'll increase the amount of responses that they are providing, or the information level that they're giving you. You could also consider nominating to be a topic representative within the topic as well, so you get to work with the topic coordinator to kind of improve the learning experience for all students and be a bit of a feedback point for other students within the topic that you then relay back to the topic coordinator as well. So that can be a really good leadership role, but also just help you get to know some of the staff within the college a little bit better, and the topic, the workings of the topic a little bit better as well. So some of you might be sitting there right now going, what on earth am I doing here? Like, why have I signed up for this? And where is this going to actually lead me? So there are loads of different types of medical scientists. So some of you might be just in a Bachelor of Medical Science program. Some of you might be in a laboratory medicine program or our associate degree in laboratory medicine. Others might be in a honours program, so BMS-H. So you're doing kind of the BMS degree and then a 4th year honours. So loads of different programs that can lead you in loads of different directions. So as you finish your Bachelor of Medical Science, if that's what you're doing, there are different jobs that you can go straight into, which are listed here. So things like clinical trials, a lot of our students will go and work at CMAX, which is a big clinical trials facility in the city. You can go and work directly as a lab technician. We've had students go and work in sales and management, pharmaceuticals, biotech, all of these different areas. Or you might know that you want a different pathway after medical science. You're doing this degree as a launching pad to get you into future studies. So that can be things like research, so either doing an honours year or having to do an honours year and then moving into a PhD. Medicine, so we are part of an exclusive subquota into the graduate medicine program here at Flinders. Nutrition and dietetics, there are pathways that you can take to get into a Master of Nutrition and Dietetics after medical science. You can get into a Masters of Speech Pathology, Masters of Audiology, Masters of Occupational Therapy and Physio as well. So it is a very broad degree and it has a lot of different areas that it can take you. Or if you're doing laboratory medicine, you either, firstly, from medical science can transfer across to laboratory medicine. You can transfer back as well. So if you're also in laboratory medicine and start going, actually, I'd prefer to just do medical science, there is room to be able to move between those two. But if you're doing laboratory medicine, then you will do your 4th year placement. Vula will talk about that more shortly. But you can then end up working in diagnostic pathology labs. So places like SA Pathology, ClinPath, Australian Clinical Labs, and all of our graduates from laboratory medicine so far have gotten jobs in those locations. It's primarily based off of the fact that you do a whole year placement or 2 semesters of placement in those areas, and so it really is almost like a year-long job interview that you're doing, and it means that you're completely job ready when you finish that program. So what I'm going to get you to do now is come across to Mentimeter and just ask you a few questions. So you can either scan this QR code or just go to menti.com and put in that code there. So the first question that I wanted to ask you is, how are you feeling about starting your course? So you can put in a few words, and as you can see, some of the words that students are putting in more will get bigger. for a little while these two emojis were together, and I thought somebody was saying A-OK, but also crying. Contradictory. So what you can see with this, and this is not unexpected, this is certainly the sort of pattern that we get when we ask all first year students how you're feeling about starting your course within medical science. So certainly a mixture between kind of more positive things, so excited, determined, ready, good, you know, all of those sorts of things, but then also some slightly less positive things. So being nervous, completely understandable, neutral, overwhelmed, a little lost, out of place, all of those sorts of things. Again, they're not unusual to be feeling that way. I don't want to minimize what you're saying, obviously, but it is a new experience for many of you, and it will be a very different experience for many of you than what perhaps you've done before. What I hopefully can reassure you is that in a few weeks' time, hopefully those sorts of things will decrease a little bit. And then you might start finding that around big assessment dates, exams, things like that, you start heading back into feeling nervous and overwhelmed. But hopefully, for the most part, in terms of how you feel about your course, will start move more towards the positive side than the negative side. If it hasn't, so, you know, if in 3-4 weeks you are still feeling really stressed out, really nervous, still feeling out of place, please chat with me and we can talk about ways to kind of help you feel better about your place within the course and how you're going within the course as well. All right, next question. What are you hoping to do after your degree? So again, not an unusual pattern that we're seeing here. We've got quite a large proportion saying that they want to get into medicine. Again, like this is, you know, we said that this is part of a sub-quota, so we are well aware that a lot of students use medical science as a way of getting into our graduate medicine program, and a lot of our medical science students do end up in the graduate medicine program. Some students start off saying, I want to get into medicine, and as they move through their course, start going, actually, no, I've decided medicine's not for me and I'm more interested in a different pathway. Some students start off and then start kind of going, well, actually, maybe I want to work with people, but I want to do more research, or I want to move more into public health. So there's different pathways that can happen where you're still working with people, working to solve kind of medical problems, but aren't directly related to medicine. Other students keep going through, determined to get into medicine, might not get in first time, but then keep applying and are able to get in future years. So don't be too disheartened if you don't get in the first time. We've certainly had students that have then gone off and worked for a year and then come back and gotten into medicine after that. I know that that means that it extends the whole process, but again, we have a lot of medical science students that head into medicine, but sometimes that pathway is not as clear cut as what they initially thought. So allied health, again, I will make sure that there's some information shared on that flow site, but you can chat with me as well in terms of what topics would be most useful for you to make sure that you're meeting the prereqs for some of those allied health courses. Diagnostic pathology, excellent. I assume that you're in laboratory medicine. You are absolutely in the right place, and hopefully we'll be able to get you careers in that area. I don't know, again, completely valid response here. It's a really broad course. You might change your mind a whole heap of different times and then get to the end and hopefully we'll have enough skills that you can move into a field that you are really interested in. All right, so again, have you enrolled in all of your topics for semester 2? So the person that said help, we can chat after this. Don't panic, we'll be able to help you, and I will show you kind of some of the expected topics that we would want you to be enrolling into as you get started. Some of them great. If you've enrolled in all of them, excellent. And perhaps some of you that have enrolled in all of them and have known how to do that, you might be able to also offer your help and support to those that have said help. Have you accessed the course site or your topic flow sites yet? All right, so yes, some of you have, great. No, for those of you that haven't, I do recommend trying to jump on at some point this week because like I said, a lot of topic coordinators would have made some of their materials available. So you can start having a look at what the expectations are of the topic, you know, get an idea of where your classes are for that topic, you know, what the expectations are for you for next week. And again, whoever's saying help, please chat with me afterwards and we can hopefully highlight what it is that you need to be doing at this point. And lastly, I think this is the last one I'm going to ask you until we switch back to the presentation. What are you hoping to learn about the course and Flinders today? And hopefully we'll be able to answer that. If not, I'll put together a list of responses and we'll make sure that we get around to those, answering those on Flow if we don't get around to it today. Oh, there's some great responses here so far. I will talk a little bit more about careers and I'll show you some data that we've got that shows where some of our students have gone. In terms of being successful in the degree and best ways of studying, some of that you'll learn as you go through, but certainly I think being curious is a really good starting point because if you're curious, you're going to be motivated, you're going to look into things, you're going to be more interested to keep going in the topics that you're doing. Trying to focus on time management, which I am terrible at myself, so it feels a bit hypocritical to say that that's an important thing for all of you, but certainly looking at, you know, getting started on assessments early, trying to keep on top of lecture content, all of those sorts of things will be beneficial to you, and making sure that you are really watching the lectures. You can look at transcripts from the lectures as well. Most of them will have subtitles, or you can actually download the transcript because that is the information that we're then going to be assessing you on. That's the information that we have curated for you to learn. But then it is kind of about, well, what do you do with that information? And that can be quite individual in terms of some students will rewrite the notes and condense them into their own summaries. For some students, that's not helpful. They might better draw diagrams or look for different videos and animations that helps explain those concepts. So it can be very individual. But again, we'll try and incorporate some of that as we move through. Again, if we don't answer these questions throughout the presentation, I'll make sure that I develop a bit of an FAQ sheet and put that up on Flow as well. Will I be asked to give presentations during the course? It depends on the topics. So some of them, yes. Sometimes those presentations might be you and a partner to 2 other people. It won't be to the whole class. Other times it might be a video presentation where you have to record yourself and upload it. Sometimes it might be to a larger group, but it would be rare for you to have to stand up in front of a whole big class like this and have to give a presentation. But it really does depend on the topics that you're studying. All right, let's go back here. So this is some data that we've gathered from our graduates in terms of where they have actually ended up after they have finished this course. So what you can see is a lot do end up going into that medical pathway. So they become medical officers or medical practitioners. This is where the students were when they responded to this survey. So some of them might, you know, we might have missed interns or we might have missed some of those that were still studying in medicine, but these are some of the jobs that they've gone into within that kind of clinical pathway. Many do go into a research pathway. So research fellow would mean that they had done honours and a PhD. They were now kind of running their own research. A lot of them have gone on to run their own research labs. Some work as technical officers. So again, that's something that you can do straight out of the degree where you're assisting within a lab, doing some research. It's often not your own research that you're doing. You're kind of assisting within that general lab environment. Some people go into health administration, management, sales. So a really diverse, different range of areas. Again, the course is so broad, we're going to give you a lot of skills that are going to make you highly employable across a lot of different areas. Many do go into that medical scientist pathway, so this is more in the diagnostic pathology space. And then we have a lot that go into allied health as well, and in particular speech pathology being one of the highest areas that students go into. You can apply for a Masters of Speech Pathology, and there's no prerequisite topics for that, just the course itself is a good prerequisite to then be able to move into that Masters program. All right, study plans, medical science. This is a bit blurry, I apologise, but essentially for these degrees, all of them have what we call this common first year. So you will do the same kinds of topics regardless of what medical science course you're in, and then you can start diversifying as you move through your future years. Now, there's two kind of different pathways really, and you can see this is starting at 2026 semester 2. One pathway if you've done year 12 chemistry, and another pathway if you haven't done year 12 chemistry. The reason for that is our core chemistry topic, Chem 1A, requires either year 12 chemistry or this topic here, general chemistry, Chem 1201. So if you've done year 12 chemistry, it's actually a little bit easier in terms of the study plan that you can jump straight into. If you haven't done year 12 chemistry, it's still absolutely workable. There's still topics you can enroll into. But I guess because you have to do general chemistry first, you can't do chemistry 1A until semester 2, 2027. But, so if you haven't done year 12, or if you have, done year 12 chemistry, these are the topics that I would recommend you enroll into. So, MMED 1007, histology, the building blocks of the human body, chemistry 1A, so Chem 1010, and MMED 1005, how your body works, human physiology and structure. I used to coordinate that topic. I've passed it on to somebody else this semester, which does feel a bit like I'm abandoning my baby, but I know that I'm leaving it in good hands, but you will see me within that topic in terms of lecturing and things as well. You'll also see me in histology for 1 week as well with the respiratory lectures and the respiratory practical. And then there's a year 1 option topic that you can enrol into if you want a full-time study load. So we consider a full-time study load 4 topics for you to enrol into. You can enrol in 3, you can enrol in 2, you can enrol in less if that's going to suit your lifestyle a lot better. But I don't encourage enrolling in more than that because it actually becomes really difficult to stay on top of all of the work that you've got to do across those topics. If you haven't done year 12 chemistry, then there's 2 core topics that you can enrol into straight away. And then you're going to have to look at some option topics. So a year 1 option topic and a year 2 option topic. So this general chemistry ends up taking up one of your year 1 option topics. And so you can jump straight into a year 2 option topic. And I've got some listed on a future slide. Yep. So the medical science family of courses all do actually have different study plans as you move through. But like I said, we've got that common first year and you can find the study plans through handbook here. So you can look at medical science itself, but then also the accelerated version. You starting mid-year can't actually do the accelerated version. So just scrap that. But there is our honours course where you can do the 4-year honours. You can also finish a laboratory medicine degree, so just your 3-year course, or laboratory medicine and still enroll to do a year honours program with us as well. So don't feel as if honours is off the table if you're not enrolled in that BMSH course. Laboratory med, so straight medical science 3 years, BMSH 4 years, lab med 4 years because of the placement. We do have a regional placement stream of laboratory medicine as well, also 4 years, and the associate degree is 2 years. But a lot of this information you can find on handbook at that link. The Flow site as well has enrolment guides for medical science and laboratory medicine. And essentially, if you click on this page on that topic or on that course Flow site, there's links to all of these various study plan options. And what you'll see is it also has study plans for the various majors that you can do. So we have recently had a restructure of what the course looks like, which if you are doing medical science, you now will do your common first year with 1 to 2 option topics, depending on if you've done chemistry or not. You then have to do your core medical science minor, so that's biochemistry, human physiology, skills for medical scientists 2 and skills for medical scientists 3, and then a major. So you do have to select a major within medical science now, and there's a few different types of majors which I'll talk about shortly. You can then either pick a minor or 4 option topics. So there's a little bit of flexibility, and we've tried to build in some flexibility within the majors as well, but probably not as much flexibility as what we've had in the past. The good news about that is it means that you'll be on a particular pathway. That means that you've met prerequisites for all of the topics that you need to do. And you can kind of go, well, I'm interested in this area, so I know that I'm going to be selecting topics that are all aligned to that particular area. Now, some of the Year 1 option topics, you'll see if you go onto Handbook, if you're looking at different options, that we have 10 listed here. But if you look on the Flinders website in general and see other topics that you think would be really interesting, but they're not listed on this option list, I am happy for you to contact me and say, I am actually interested in this particular option topic. Can I have permission to be able to do it? And we can do what we call a study plan variation that enables you to take on those extra option topics. So if I can see that that option topic is related to a medical science degree, I'm happy for you to look around and see what else is available. Now, in terms of some of those semester 2 option topics that you could take for this semester, there's ones like academic and professional communication, Comms 1001. That topic coordinator actually does try and diversify the materials within that. So you will actually be learning some elements of communication that are relevant to medical science. There's understanding health, illness and social care in Australia, nutrition, physical activity and health, the psychology of surviving and thriving and biostatistics. All of those are available for you to enrol in right away for this semester as option topics. But as I said, you can look around to see what else there is as well. And here's some Year 2 option topics. The stars are there because you won't actually see them in your Year 2 options. But if they interest you at all, you can search them up on Handbook to find out more information about them. And I can, again, provide permission to you to enrol into those. Phil 2601 Ethics for Professionals actually is part of our health and medical research major. So if you complete that one, it actually would go towards your major as well. Again, I'll put this information up so that you can see what some of these option topics are that you can enrol into. Now, the majors, that we've got 5 different options. You don't really need to decide right away, but what we will do is towards the end of this semester, I'm going to run a majors session essentially, where we'll get people who teach within those different majors to come in, explain a little bit about them so that you can feel a bit more informed when you're having to make this decision about what your major is actually going to be. So that'll happen before the 2027 topic enrolments open up, probably around early November, but I just need to confirm that. I'll make sure that you're aware of that within the next couple of weeks. So our 5 different majors are immunology and infectious diseases, health and medical research, physiology, neuroscience and anatomy, medical studies and molecular medicine. Now, health and medical research and medical studies are probably the most flexible of the majors. So you'll see they've got 5 core topics, but then 3 option topics. Again, there's a particular pool of option topics that you have to select from to make sure that you're complying with the requirements of that major. But these others have less options, I guess, available within them. What I will say, I get asked quite a lot, which major is going to help me get into medicine? Absolutely none of them. So if you're applying for graduate medicine at Flinders, they won't look at the specific topics that you've studied at all. It won't be relevant to your medical application here at Flinders. Your weighted GPA will be relevant. So essentially the later topics that you study will be weighted more heavily than the earlier topics that you study, but your actual academic transcript won't be considered as part of that. So what I always recommend is pick a major that interests you, because if you're interested in it, you're going to be more likely to engage with it, you're going to be more likely to enjoy the topics that you're studying, and that's going to lead you to be more successful within those topics. So you're then going to be more likely to get a higher GPA, and which makes you more competitive applying for medicine. So even medical studies, it won't factor in. So go with what you think is going to interest you more. And if you are interested in potential allied health, meeting allied health prerequisites, have a look at some of the topics to see what meets that. So if you are interested in leaving the options of physiotherapy and occupational therapy open, then I'd probably recommend physiology, neuroscience and anatomy, because you know that then you're going to cover the anatomy topics that are essential prerequisites for those courses as you move on. But there's certainly flexibility amongst them. But again, go with what interests you rather than necessarily what you think might best suit your particular pathway that you want to head in. Laboratory medicine doesn't have majors, and again, Voula will talk to that more shortly. So for each of the different majors, this is immunology, infectious diseases. I'll put these slides up online. I won't talk through them now because I feel like I'm boring you enough speaking too much. this lists all of the different topics that you have to take as part of that major, and then an extra option that you can take as part of that major. Likewise for physiology, neuroscience and anatomy. So you can see 7 topics that you have to take and 1 option topic that is you can select. Same for molecular medicine. And then you can see here, health and medical research, 4 core topics and then 4 options. So again, this is very flexible. You've got more choices that you can do depending on what interests you. And likewise for medical studies as well, you've got 3 different option topics. Actually, I will just say for health and medical research, professional placement in medical science, that's actually a 9-unit topic. So you still actually only have 3 option topics that you can take. So this placement is essentially a topic that you can do in your 3rd year. So either semester 1 or semester 2, it takes the place of 2 topics, but it is a placement within a research laboratory or some of our industry partners, but primarily they're research placements where you can work in a research lab on a research project for the whole semester. So it's really good hands-on learning within that laboratory environment. But as I said, it is worth kind of the equivalent of 2 topics. Yes. Okay. Opportunities and career development within medical science. You can look at opportunities to study overseas. So we do have semester exchange or short-term programs that you can do. Highly recommend, if that's something that interests you, getting in early, seeing what universities offer topics that we can then credit you for, seeing who our partner universities are that you can go to so that you're not having to pay an extremely large amount of money in university fees. To an international university, but highly recommend contacting the Global Experience team. And if you're interested in this, let me know, and I can also try and put you in touch with some students who have taken part in those programs so they can share their experiences with it as well. Research opportunities. So I've mentioned briefly that placement opportunity that you can take up in 3rd year. There also are these summer research awards. And so I would recommend doing those between 2nd and 3rd year, but they will, they're run through FIMRI, so the Flinders Health and Medical Research Institute. This is our health and medical research building, which you'd see just down there near the train station where a lot of our researchers work and perform their research, but that is often where you would end up working. We do have some research labs within the hospital as well where you might do some research work, but these summer research awards, essentially they're at 4 to 6 weeks and you get paid a small amount of money to complete research with a supervisor in an area that interests you. So that can be a good way of kind of getting a taste for research, seeing if it is something that interests you or not. And as I said, you actually get paid for it a little bit as well, which is kind of nice. It can be good if you're thinking about doing placement, but want to make sure that your placement supervisor is somebody that you actually then want to work with for that whole semester, because you might do the summer research award and go, maybe not that research project or maybe not that supervisor, and it can then help you make a better informed decision for your professional placement. Honours. So honours, I've said it a few times now, but haven't really described what it is. It is a full year research project. So you are working on your own project as part of a team. You've got a supervisor. You're not just left to your own devices, but it is a great way of putting your foot in the door, getting used to some research skills. Again, you get to kind of dictate your own project to a large extent. Some students will finish honours and get a publication out of it. So you're doing real research within a research lab. And again, it helps give you that extra qualification, that higher level qualification beyond your medical science degree that makes you more employable in a lot of different areas. But also can lead you towards being able to work as a researcher. So completing honours, you can work as a research assistant, where you can be working on research that's generally part of another research lab. If you then end up going, no, I want to do my own research, I want to run my own lab, you would do a PhD, which is a 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 year project that you end up working on with a supervisor. There are PhD scholarships that can be available for you to be able to do that. And that is the qualification that enables you to call yourself doctor, but also enables you to actually then apply for your own grant funding, really run your own research laboratory. Professional development as a student. So there's loads of opportunities as you're working your way through the course to develop skills that you can add to your CV, but also just to help you better develop as a graduate as you're moving through, or as a non-graduate and then moving towards being a graduate. So you can facilitate. So our Skills for Medical Scientists topic, which you will do next year in semester 1, If you do well within that topic and enjoy that topic, you can then apply to the topic coordinator to be a facilitator the following year. So that's a paid role. There's peer mentoring opportunities, which Lara will make sure that she shares information about that, and we'll talk about our peer mentoring program shortly. So you can all be mentees this year, but next year can start looking at being a mentor, which is a great way of, a great thing to put on your CV, a really good professional development opportunity. There's professional development activities via the Career Hub, and we do have our own medical science page within Career Hub as well, where Meg Alexander, our careers representative, will work to try and make sure that she's putting things that are relevant to medical science on there. I'll try and make sure I post anything that's relevant for career opportunities on our Flow page. And then there's other leadership opportunities like being a topic representative or working with Flinders University Medical Science Student Society. So you could either look to be the president one day or the vice president or secretary treasurer. There's leadership roles that you can get involved in that are really beneficial. We also have these employability roadmaps. So that lists some of these things as being useful skills as you work your way through, but just kind of gets you thinking about what do I need to do in year one that starts making me more employable as I move through, or to start just developing myself as I work my way through this course, and then year two and then year three. Careers Hub, I've mentioned it already, but this can be really useful for finding out more about your future career, talking to a careers advisor about where you want to end up, looking for current working opportunities where you can work while you study, and then also just things like how do I write a CV, how do I write job applications, all of those sorts of things that can be really useful, and thinking about what professional associations and groups might be useful to start connecting with now as well. Prizes. At the end or towards the end of your medical science degree, you can either be eligible for some of our prizes or you might be able to apply for some of our prizes. So we do have our prize for academic excellence. So that's just based on GPA and your score within our Skills for Medical Scientists 3 topic. We've got a prize for research excellence. So that's based on performance within that professional placement topic. But the prize for social accountability and our prize for university inclusion and support, those are prizes that you can actually apply for. So if you're doing work within the community that is actually really beneficial, that kind of aligns with medical science or aligns with health and medical research in some sort of way, you could be thinking about, is this, does this make me eligible to apply for these prizes? It can also include things that you've done while you've been within the university. So how have you supported other university students where you've gone kind of above and beyond to do that? So that can be good recognition for work that you're doing either within the community or within the degree. There's also the Australian Institute of Medical and Clinical Scientists, so the AIMS Award for Academic Excellence. So that's for laboratory medicine students. And there's also the AIMS Award for presentation of a clinical case study report as well. So those 2 prizes are more for our laboratory medicine students, and these for the social accountability and inclusion and support are applicable to all medical science students, and academic excellence and research excellence are BMS or BMSH or accelerated. Clothing, if you choose to, you could go to Corporate Image, and if you really want a medical science branded lab coat, you can order one through there, or a medical science polo shirt you can order through Corporate Image as well. For those of you doing laboratory medicine, you will have to have laboratory medicine, a laboratory medicine uniform for your 4th year placement, which Vola will talk more to. But if you're a medical science student, you don't have to get a uniform, but if it's something that interests you, you could. And now I am going to pass over to Vola to talk about LabMed. All right, no worries. Yeah.
Great, I think this one's working. Did anyone want to have a stretch at all? Maybe just go to the bathroom for a minute or two if you wanted a small break. Are we on schedule, Helen? Probably on schedule, so maybe we might just have a small break because we've been sitting for a little while now, and maybe a couple minutes, and then I'll come back if that's all right, Helen. Yep.
Maybe we'll say 10 past 11, and if you've got any questions in the meantime, please do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for that. So we'll get started. And as Helen mentioned, my name's Vola, and I'm one of the coordinators for laboratory medicine. So this is a little bit different, this program, and I'm just wanting to get, I guess, a little bit of an idea from the room. Who's enrolled in either the Bachelor for Laboratory Medicine? 1, 2, 3, 4. Great. I'll have a chat with you guys later. And also the Associate degree. Is there anyone from the associate degree here today? The associate degree? Excellent. All right, so let's talk after the session. I'd like to get to know you personally. So this program came about, I guess, as a result over a number of years ago when there was interest in the student cohort and also from the academics to develop a program that developed medical scientists that could work in the hospital and diagnostic pathology laboratories. So what happened in the meantime is that students who graduated from medical science were not able to work into the SA pathology labs. They needed to be AIMS accredited. And AIMS is the peak accrediting body nationally for medical and clinical scientists, and Helen mentioned that name. You can see their logo on the PowerPoint slide there as well. So what we did was we developed this program specifically for developing laboratory medicine graduates, and it has a very fixed study plan because it has to align with accreditation standards. So what I'll do is, as we go through, I'll tell you a little bit about the program and then I'll show you the study plan as well. So this is a little bit longer than your 3-year degree. It is 3 years of coursework, and then the final year is a full year of placement. So the bachelor degree has the 4th year as a placement year. The associate degree doesn't have the placement, but as you'll see when I show you the study plan, the students who enrolled in the associate degree have the option of moving forward into the bachelor in an uninterrupted way. The associate degree is intended to develop graduates who want to work as technical scientists. So there's an opportunity to do a few things once you're actually in the program. So there are some common first year topics as you would see in medical science, which is what allows students to move from one degree to the other and also to exit from one degree and go back into the other. So medical science and medical science laboratory medicine are all related. However, the 2nd and 3rd year and 4th year is different. There are lots of topics across different disciplines because there are what we call professional disciplines in laboratory medicine. They're things like hematology and transfusion science, they're immunopathology rather, genetic pathology, basically most of the pathology areas that you would find in a diagnostic area. So we need to be able to train you up in your degree to be able to go into those placement opportunities and also work in those opportunities, making sure that you've got the correct foundations, which means that it needs to be a fixed study plan to be able to do that. So one of the things that actually helps students when they're going out on placement in their 4th year is the fact that we've got some regional scholarships available. So we really do need to boost our regional workforce here in South Australia. It's something that's in the newspapers quite often, not just for laboratory medicine, but for doctors, for nurses, for a lot of the people who work in healthcare. So Flinders has partnered with SA Pathology and the placement coordinator, who you'll meet in a moment, is Lara Eskane, we've been critical in developing these regional scholarship opportunities. So LabMed students, when you get into year 3, will have a call out to apply for these opportunities. And what it would mean is you'd put your application in, you'd have an interview, and if successful, then you'd win $2,500 plus a 12-month employment contract in the regions as a result as a medical scientist, which is incredible to come out with that ranking straight out of 4th year. So keep that in the back of your mind for when you get to 3rd year. So I'll talk a little bit more about the clinical placement because naturally that's what students most want to hear about for the bachelor's program. So the codes, if you want to look them up on Handbook, are MMed 4013. There's A and B, and that just allows it to be split up into semesters. And then MMed 4014 for the second, part-time rather, and then 4014 for the next semester. And Lara is the coordinator for those topics as well, so you can feel free to chat to her later. What that incorporates is 2 13-week clinical laboratory placements, which you can choose to do a SA Pathology, which is the state's public pathology provider, ClinPath Pathology, which is private, and Australian Clinical Labs, which is a national pathology provider and is based here at the airport site. So you get a lot of choice, and within those different areas, you also get preferences within the different professional disciplines. So you can choose to do your placement in haematology or in the blood bank or in core lab, and lots of different areas that you might have taken an interest to throughout your degree. So what might not be that interesting to you at the moment is that final dot point, but it increasingly becomes interesting to students as they move into their 4th year, and that is the availability of non-semester placements. And what that kind of can do for you is that you can finish your degree a little bit faster. So a non-semester 1 or a non-semester 2 opportunity to do placement is more so the summer vacation break. So over December, January, February, when the labs are open anyway, they're open 24/7 servicing diagnostic requirements, and they can take students. So we can place you over the summer break, and that can contribute towards your placement. And also in the non-semester 1 period, which is usually that longer break in July that students have, you can actually do placement in that period of time to shorten the duration of your degree. So I've spoken about professional disciplines, and there are so many, and you can have a little look through this. These slides, I think, will be available on the course site after the session, so you can have a closer look a little later. But for lab med students, the pathology disciplines that are covered in the placement areas are AP, anatomical pathology, and that's then broken down into other categories. There's chemical pathology, again, lots of different areas there that you'll get to know. Genetics and molecular pathology, this has got to be one of the favourites. Many students choose this one here. Hematology, also quite popular, and the different areas, including blood bank. Immunology, which includes allergy and flow cytometry, and the microbiology and infectious diseases areas. So there's a lot to think about. And of course, if you can imagine that this is where you'll end up in 4th year, your 3 years of coursework needs to prepare you to understand all these different areas and have that foundational knowledge to be able to move into the practical application of that. And that's why your study plan has areas that can support your learning in those different disciplines. Also mention that there's a lot of different places that you can choose. So SA Pathology have metropolitan areas and also regional areas. From recall, there's 10 regional areas that you could choose to go to. For some students, it actually means that they're going back home, which is because we do have quite a large percentage of students who are from regional South Australian areas. So if that's something that interests you, please have a chat to us, myself or Lara, and we'll be able to point you in the right direction as the years move forward. So yes, definitely in this building, in the Flinders Medical Centre, which is where our college is based. It's unique in that it is the only college within the university that is based within a hospital. And in fact, it is unique in the fact that it is a teaching hospital. So you won't get that at Adelaide University, and that's something that we have here. In terms of the disciplines, one of the advantages of choosing a regional area is that it is multidisciplinary. And that means that if you can imagine people who live in the regions and have testing requirements, the people that are in the laboratory need to be able to do lots of different tests, not just a single biochemistry panel, for example. They'll need to do bacterial counts, and they'll need to do perhaps some genetic analysis and a few other things. So one of the advantages of a regional lab as a placement site for you is that you will get that multidisciplinary experience. Whereas if you chose one of the tertiary hospitals here in a metropolitan area, they are typically single disciplines. So if you go to genetics and molecular pathology, that's all you'll do for that semester. And that's an excellent opportunity to get the depth of understanding. So what you'll get is not just the breadth of what they do, but a very detailed experience in that space. So what we like to recommend to students is if you'd like to do perhaps a single discipline lab in one semester and choose a different discipline in the next semester, and if it's possible, a multidisciplinary lab as well in the regions, which will give you that extra experience. What the industry has told us is that students who go to regional placements end up being given opportunities that you don't normally get in metropolitan areas, and anecdotally those are the people who tend to rise up to being managers of those labs, and that's, for me, if I was a student, I'd be wanting to get those opportunities in and be able to rise as quickly as I can into those roles. It's primarily because of the lack of students and graduates in those areas. So, yeah, a good opportunity for you as students. We've had some really great students who've come through the course, and they've been involved in generating some marketing and advertising for us. And this one here, you can QR code this and you can have a read of it at a later time. It's a nice story from our Lab Med graduate, Hannah Gaps, who graduated, I think maybe 2 or 3 years ago. We started the degree in 2022. And Hannah actually started out thinking that she wanted to be a doctor and that she wanted to get into medical science and eventually transfer into medicine, which I did notice from the Mentee that Helen did earlier that many of you do from the medical science degree. And when we provided an opportunity for students to do laboratory medicine, she realised that she actually really wanted to do that, and she's been extremely successful in working in SA pathology, and she's moved across different disciplines as well. Now, the associate degree is another excellent opportunity that arose out of discussions with industry. So what industry told us as an institution is that they were lacking in technical scientists, and they really wanted students to have a university education versus a TAFE education. So we developed the associate degree for medical science laboratory medicine in response to that. And what we did was we nested it. So students will come in, it's a broader acceptance pathway. So the ATAR is not as high to get into the associate degree, so that it enables students to come in and taste it, see if they like it, without having the very high ATAR entry that the bachelor does. And if we just have a 30-second discussion on why that's so high, it's limited because of the placement opportunities in fourth year. So the laboratories that we send students to can only take so many students. So we can't open the floodgates with a lower ATAR. So we have to make it a lot higher to restrict the number of students who come in. So that's the main reason for the ATAR difference. Now, the associate degree is not accredited, though it does match the study plan for the bachelor, with a couple of minor exceptions to allow it to be a technical scientist exit. So graduates of this program, which is 2 years in duration and it does not have any placement associated with it, it is theoretical, is a TGO classification. Okay, and so looking at the salary scales for laboratory scientists, whether technical or medical, the technical scientist classification reaches a ceiling, and then to be able to move into the next bracket, which is higher for pay, you need to do the bachelor degree to become a medical laboratory scientist, and then that opens up a different set of pay scales. So that's something to consider as, you know, whether if you're in the associate degree, whether you might want to do that. Some people don't have the appetite to do more study and they just want to get out and work. The bachelor degree will always be there, so you can always come back to it and enter into it and gain credit for those topics. Now, as I mentioned, the associate degree is nested with a bachelor. So if students got to second year and thought, yeah, actually, I'm not doing too bad, I like this, I'm not ready to go into work, I think I can do this for another year and then go out into placement. The only restriction is a progression rule of 4.5, just so that we can make sure that you can move ahead with confidence and that your academic organisation aptitude and capabilities are there to handle the next 2 years. For bachelor students, there is an opportunity, and for associate degree students, for all laboratory medicine students, there's an opportunity to buy a uniform if you'd like it, but it's not essential, and Helen mentioned this also. It's only the fourth year students that are required to have a uniform on placement. The laboratories that you'll be going out to take students from other universities, not just within our state, but from eastern states as well, and so there's two reasons for the uniform. One is to identify you as a student, and the other one is to identify you from which institution you're from. So they'll have a logo on there and it'll say Medical Science Lab Med for Flinders. They're a little bit pricey, so if you don't need it, you may choose not to get it, and it ranges from shirts and polos to vests and jackets. So that's it from me. I think that's now handing over to Helen and Lara, I think. But if you'd like to chat with me, I certainly do want to chat with you, the LabMed students. Please come over and let's just have some introductions at the end of the session. Thank you.
All right, I promise I'm going to try and be as quickly as possible. So again, these slides I have just uploaded to Flow, so they will be there. But I do just want to talk about a couple of quick supports that are available to you. Melissa often comes along to our orientations, but she wasn't able to make it. So Melissa Suckley is our Student Success and Wellbeing Advisor, and she is a wealth of information about different support services around the university, and is particularly useful, again, if the wheels fall off for you, you have a major crisis kind of happen and you're not really sure which service will be best to suit. She can also act as a bit of an advocate for you with working with topic coordinators. So again, you have some sort of crisis, you don't want to have to go to each separate topic coordinator and say, here's what's happening for me. Mel is a good person to be able to do that for you without sharing any personal details, to be able to say to topic coordinators, please give this student a little bit more flexibility because they have something going on in their personal life. And she also can offer suggestions to you in terms of how to best manage your studies to help support whatever is going on for you at a given time. So she's got some top tips for success here at Flinders. I'll let you look through those on the slides online, but you can see these kind of tips are really useful in terms of just trying to make sure that you get on top of things early, you protect your study time and all of those sorts of things so that you can be as successful as possible. So you can see, get clear on what's expected and ask early. So again, none of us are going to be annoyed with you if you say, I am not quite sure about the expectation of this assessment. We want to help you. It's our jobs to help you. So please do ask those questions if you have them. Plan your study time and protect it. So certainly timetabling, blocking out areas of time to study is really, really useful. Start tasks before you feel ready. So, again, this is something that I think we're all guilty of, procrastinating until right before a deadline. But sometimes just opening it up, getting started, thinking about what resources might be useful, starting the document, writing a sentence, all of those can help build momentum and help you get started on larger tasks. Stay connected, don't study alone. So for some students that just works best and it's necessary depending on other commitments that you might have. But certainly what we do see is for students that are attending our classes, they're chatting with other students, they're kind of working collaboratively and building those peer networks that can be really beneficial, particularly if you are finding motivation, procrastination, big barriers to your success. And obviously looking after your wellbeing is so important as well. It's no good working so hard, all of the time that you get to burn out, so that when you finally do graduate, you're so burnt out that you actually can't move on to any other particular pathway afterwards. So certainly looking after your wellbeing is something that Mel highly recommends, but all of us would recommend as well. This kind of just shows you how you can get in touch with the Student Success and Wellbeing Advisors, and you can find more information about that online as well. Our Student Administration Services team are based, if you got lost in the hospital and had to do a large kind of tour of the hospital to find this space, level 5 is primarily our teaching space. We do have some teaching spaces down on level 4 as well, but primarily level 5 is where a lot of our teaching takes place. You may have seen the medical library, which is kind of if you walk that way, turn right down the corridor, keep walking, you'll see signs that head towards the medical library. Just next to the entrance of the medical library is a desk, and that's where our Student Administration Services team sit. And they are really useful in terms of helping with things like assessment, enrolment, examinations, graduations, finance, and all of those sorts of things. So if you do have questions more about the administrative side of your studies, then you can go to that desk and they can sometimes help you right away while you're moving through. So again, this is where they're located. You can email them at this email address as well. Primarily, the preferred method of contacting them is either at the desk at the front there or submitting an Ask Flinders request, because then it can be triaged to the appropriate person to support your particular question, which you can see here as the Ask Flinders request is the first point of call. They've also got some tips here. So when you are sending an email with information where you're asking about kind of to an administration services team who might not necessarily know who you are or know which course you're from, including your student ID and FAN is a really useful way of making sure that helps them direct you to the correct person and identify what it is that you're needing help with very quickly. And you can also see all of those other tips online. Better You, it was mentioned right back at that support service video, right back at the start here. This is a great kind of launching pad for a lot of the different wellbeing activities that happen across the university. You can subscribe to a blog through Better You, and it just means that you get this weekly email telling you about things that are happening around the university, or providing you with little articles about how to beat procrastination or top 10 study tips as you head into exams and different things like that. So I highly recommend signing up to their little newsletter/blog for just lots of information about different things that are occurring, but also just good practice in terms of studying and looking after your wellbeing. This is more information about the Careers Hub, which we've already shared. Academic integrity, I won't go through this. You're going to hear about it a lot, but there is an academic integrity website and an academic integrity flow course that you can do just to make sure that you're really up to speed with what the academic integrity requirements are for you at university. And again, if you've got an assessment and you're not sure in terms of are you allowed to use AI within that assessment and all of those sorts of things, just ask your topic coordinator and they hopefully will be able to give you some really clear information on that. Student Learning Support Service, it was mentioned in the video, you can meet with them in person up in the Learning Lounge up at the Hub within the main library. You can also book online appointments one-on-one with a learning advisor as well. So, and they have a flow page that talks about the different services that the Student Learning Support Service offers. They've got lots of different tip sheets and things as well, again, about how do I take notes while I'm watching a lecture, how do I prepare effectively for an exam, how do I get started on assignments. So all of those can be really useful. But they also, at this the SLSS website, you can see where you can access this Study Buddy and Feedback Buddy. So they're AI agents that have been trained by the Student Learning Support Service. So for Feedback Buddy, you can upload assignments, it can give you feedback on them. And for Study Buddy, you can just ask for general study tips and things as well, which can be really beneficial. So that will tell you how to access those. And those are built within Copilot, within our university Copilot ecosystem, which means that it's kind of locked down to our university. So if you're sharing things with those agents, it's not going out to a wider language learning model. It's restricted to the level of the university. Where there is a Flinders Neurodivergent Study Support and Advocacy Group, highly recommend them. A couple of our students actually within our college started this group and now it's just thriving on Facebook with a lot of great support tips, you know, people that you can kind of chat to about ways to supporting your studies as you move through. And loads of other services that you can see here as well. So if you're looking for prayer rooms, there certainly are prayer rooms located across the campuses, I should say. There's different conversation groups, equal opportunity advisors, there's a Pride Network, Good Vibes Experiment. I've already talked about the neurodiversity groups as well. If you're spending a lot of time studying in Flinders Medical Centre, there is a student common room. So you'll see it's got this yellow door. It's room 4E109. So it's downstairs on level 4 and kind of just near, there's a cafe down there as well, kind of along that corridor near the cafe, but there's an access code there. That's got kitchen facilities, a microwave and a kettle and things like that. It's got some couches, so that can be a good space just to hang out in between classes. All students who study in the medical centre are welcome to go there. So you might also see nursing students, medical students, allied health students there as well. All right, now I'm going to pass over to Lara to talk about our peer mentoring program and her role as first year coordinator.
Thank you so much, Helen. Welcome, everyone. So nice to see you today. So yes, as Helen said, I'm Lara and I am the first year coordinator. So where are you going to see me? Looking at your study plan, you actually won't get to see me until next year in Skills Medical Scientist 1. Also in first year cell biology, second year genetics, and then for those of you in lab med, we get to know each other really well in third and fourth year. So let's head over back to Mentimeter. If everyone is back on the site, otherwise I'll leave the QR code there. I think it should still be in this tab as well. Oh no, QR code. Go back. Will it show me? Yeah. Oh, down here.
Yeah, that's it.
Here we go. Yes, have you been to uni before? This is exactly what we expected. No, most of you haven't been here before, so you likely don't know anyone here. So what I want you guys to do is turn to the person next to you or closest to you, introduce yourselves, have a handshake or a wave if you're a bit of a germaphobe, that's fine. Yeah, we're seeing some handshakes. Excellent, excellent. We're also going to be having a bit of a snack after this relatively soon. We're actually heading towards 12 o'clock, so I want to make sure that you all get to know each other quite well over some snacks. And when we're talking about transitioning into uni, for most of you, and mentors who you met this morning who came and signed you in up the back, who I'll introduce shortly, they're excellent resources in pointing you in the right direction where you need to go for some support. All right, next question. Oh, okay. We've kind of been through this. Do you know anyone else starting this degree? I'm assuming most of you will say no. You've just shook hands or had a little wave and made some new friends. First year topics and also your mentoring groups are excellent opportunities to make new friends. Oh, do you feel that you know everything about uni already and won't have any problems? Who knows everything? Oh, someone does. Feel okay? Don't know anything? Feel very lost? Okay, please reach out to us if you're one of those who feels very lost. If you're feeling okay, go to your mentors. Again, as I said, they're going to be pointing you in the right direction for those resources and support that you're going to need as you transition into university life. And no one said help. So feeling good about that. All right, back to the presentation. Let's move on. Okay, so let's talk a bit about the peer mentoring program. So as I said, it's there to provide support to all of you. Even if you have been to uni before, being part of the program is different to perhaps what you were doing previously. So definitely talk to our expert mentors who have spent a few years in our medical science programs to help you with that transition. They'll help you point you in the right direction to those support services that Helen's just been through before. They can help you understand some of the policies and procedures that we've talked about. Sharing academic survival tips, big one, pick their brains. They're happy to share their experiences with you. And also building self-confidence and social networks. As I said, great place to make friends. Come on. Oh, it will let me click. Great. And they absolutely understand where you guys are at your point in life and study, because they were where you are last year or the year before, because we've got some second and third years here today. So they understand your lifestyle, they understand the expectations of you, they understand all the resource management, so things like Flow, they can absolutely help point you in the right direction when you're trying to understand Flow. Email, Helen mentioned including your FAN and your student ID and your email signatures. If you need a hand with that, mentors are happy to help you with that, and also the student system, and also they understand student etiquette. So how do you get involved in our peer mentoring program? Well, you actually already are. If you look on your name tags, there's a little group number on there. So you've already been placed into one of 3 groups, and we've tried to group everyone together based on the programs that you're in. So all LabMed students will be together, honours and so on and so forth. So it's an opt-out program, so you've already been included. The mentors will email you with their details. So when your group is meeting and where your group is meeting, this info will also be available on Flow, and I'll show you a little screenshot in a second of what that looks like. But when you meet your mentors in a second, while we have some snacks, I want you to make sure you have those discussions with them to figure out what time in your timetable works best for you, for your groups to meet. And of course, if the time that's agreed upon doesn't work for everyone, you have the ability to kind of move into a different mentor group if you need that extra support. That's completely fine. So yes, please attend the meeting. So weeks 1 to 6, they are weekly, and then we move to fortnightly, weeks 8, 9, 11. I appreciate 8 and 9 is not every other week, but week 8 is our last week of the first term of this semester, and then we have a 2-week break, and then back into week 9. So you have a bit of a break between weeks 8 and 9. And as I said, yes, you can absolutely change mentor groups if the timetable clashes for you. And this is where you can find it. So if you go back into the medical science course site, under the peer mentoring program module, there's a mentor information and session times page. And this will show you some information about the mentors and then when and where they'll be meeting every week or every fortnight, depending on what week it is of the semester. So make sure you check that out. And mentors, if you wouldn't mind standing, there's a couple of them who couldn't make it today. So we've got Cara, give us a wave. Laura, they're your co-mentors for Group 1. Laura couldn't be here today. We've got Talia and Casey, Group 2, and then Petra and Chanel, who couldn't make it today, her Group 3. So please make sure that you start some great discussions with them over a snack. Oh, okay, back to Helen. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sorry, this is the last thing I promise. So Ariana and Elsie couldn't be here today to talk about the Medical Science Student Society, but Cara is actually the treasurer, I believe. So I'll just show you through their slides quickly to talk about it. Or did you want to talk about the society, Cara? I don't want to put you on the spot. Yeah, come up and chat about the Student Society quickly. There is just a quick video. Essentially, it's a great society to get to know people, get leadership opportunities. They've got some great sponsorship, which can be useful as well, and also some social events. So I'll pass over to Cara quickly. Sorry.
Helen covered most things, but yeah, completely fine. We do lots of social events to help people meet each other, and then also some like study workshops and GAMSAT preparation and that kind of thing. We have a massive ball at the end of the year, which is a really good opportunity to celebrate the end of exams. But yeah, we have most of our information through our Instagram or Facebook pages. And then we also will put some things out on like Canvas and through the, medical science site. But yeah, it's a good opportunity to build some connections and meet some people.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cara. Very impressive for putting you on the spot like that. So you can see some of the social events listed there. There is a little video that just introduces you to the committee. So we'll play that quickly. Hang on, was it right at the bus start?
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear, when it hasn't been your day, your week, your month, or even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you, so there for me too.
That's just a good little intro to the committee and the social media links that you can see here. So that's how you can contact the Student Society and get involved. You can pay a membership fee. It makes everything a lot cheaper. You can get discount merchandise and things as well. And again, just a great network for you to get to know people. That is it. I'm done. So you can fill out a feedback form, I guess, about how this orientation session has gone. It helps us work out how we can do things better. There's some fruit and some water up the back, but also we're going to hang around so that you can chat with us. Chris Barry has just come in, who is our third year advisor as well, so can also chat with you about different things. Also is a lecturer or associate professor in anatomy, so coordinates our anatomy topics in third year as well. But hopefully you'll hang around, chat with us, ask us any questions. Please have some fruit and water and things up the back. Chat with your mentors as well. And if you've got questions, ask them. But thank you very much for coming along. I will make sure all of this is uploaded online so that you can find that out and refer back to it if you need to. Otherwise, we'll hang around and hopefully start getting to know you all. Thank you. Yeah. I'll spread out the fruit so it's a little bit easier. It's a bit boring, I'm sorry. Fruit, I don't know why I'm going to fruit. Surely they could give us something yummy out of it. So one idea that you could do is come up and sit in your mentoring group. So check out your sticker and see where you're at. Please come and have fruit and water.
Hi everyone, if I can have your attention for a moment. As Helen said, I'm Christine Barry, I'm the third year advisor. So when you come to third year, if you need advice around topics and pathways from there, feel free to come and chat with me. I just wanted to flag for you, there's an event happening in a few weeks' time called the Careers Showcase. And this is an event that's been going on for a few years. It's usually second year, third year students come along to this event, but I'd really warmly welcome you guys to participate as well. What you learn about this event is a whole lot of pathways to graduate study programs that are really suited to medical sciences graduates. So often at this stage, people either don't know what they want to do when they've finished medical science, or maybe they have a really specific idea what they want to do. Certainly there's usually a fair proportion of students that are interested in studying medicine, but as time goes on, people might think, what other options have I got? Maybe I don't want to do medicine, maybe I want a backup plan. And so this is a great opportunity to learn about different pathways, allied health programs, biotechnology. You'll just hear for 3 to 5 minutes from about 10 different people. So then might spark your interest. What are the careers opportunities in nutrition and dietetics? What are the wages? What's the job market look like? All kinds of things that you might have, careers you might never even thought of. You'll get to hear a real smorgasbord of things at this event. The event is from 10 a.m. till 11:30. It's over in the Health and Medical Sciences building, which is a really beautiful building for you to have a look at. HMRB, Health and Medical Research Building, near a train station. So it's a beautiful building to come into. There's a free pizza lunch. And starting from 11:30, there'll be talk about honours and research pathways. So you get to have a look at a few cool things that are happening in the research space over there. There's a QR code here to register. I'll also put an announcement on the Medical Sciences course site. But if you're at all interested in coming along, no pressure at all, but you're really welcome. Please just register via Eventbrite so that we have enough catering for everyone. Thanks for your attention. Enjoy your day.